Hello everyone, it's Silvia from Fella Tarot. Welcome to my channel. If you're a Sunlight or a Starlight members, you will have access to this video 1 week prior my release to the public. So take advantage of this offer if you see a deck that you like, because this is going to be a huge rehoming video because I didn't post any rehoming for the month of February, and so this is going to combine 2 months of rehoming. Now, the usual disclaimer: I can only ship mass market decks that are out of print or indie decks overseas, simply because with the shipping costs being what they are, mass market decks that are still on print will never be convenient for you if you're not located in Australia. So just to make it simple, I can ship anything to within Australia, and overseas just the mass market out of print and the indie decks. But without much further ado, because it's going to be a really long video, let's have a look at what I'm going to rehome this month. So without much of an order, I'm just gonna grab the ones that are closer to me on the table right now. I have to say, as always, I've got absolutely nothing against these decks. In most of the cases, these decks have had a relevant part in my collection. It's just that the time the time with them has come to an end. I don't know how to put it, because I don't want it to sound poetic, because it's not. It's just a rehoming video. On the other hand, though, I do have a kind of a rule, and it's part of my New Year's resolution when it comes to tarot decks and purchases and stuff. And so I'm going through my collection, which right now has reached the 500 plus decks mark, and which is, it's not too many because everything is relative, but what I'm going to say is that for the storage that I have available, it is too many. And so I have this rule, and I ask myself, going through my collection, I ask myself, have you used this deck in the last 12 months? Unless it is a collector's deck, in that case, well, obviously I wouldn't use it. But if it is a deck that I use and it's not just for collection, and also if it is a mass market deck that I can repurchase should I wish to do so in the future, then in that case it will go to a new lovely home. This is the Herbal Astrology Oracle, and it's a Hay House deck. It's a botanical deck. As you can see, it's basically, well, I have had a look at the guidebook because I'm not 100% familiar with these plants. But because this deck had the name of the plant, but also a really, really good keyword at the bottom, I didn't necessarily use the guidebook all the time. I have to say, it's a really beautiful deck. I did use it a lot. It pairs really well with, for example, the Tarot of the Hidden Realms, but also by Julia Jeffrey, the Sister Witch Tarot, which is a recent acquisition in my decks. And so when I was going through my collection, I was actually thinking, okay, but it's true that I haven't used it in the last 12 months, but perhaps I can actually use it with new decks that are coming into my collection. But if I stop at that, then I will never rehome anything, and it's not my practice. My practice is, probably sounds ruthless, but when I see that I don't use a deck, I owe it to the deck itself to rehome it and give it a possibility to someone else to actually use it and appreciate it. Because there's nothing more sad than a deck that is not necessarily a collectible item to just gather dust on a shelf. I think we'll agree to that. So this is the first one, literally that is here on the table close to me. I'm gonna go fairly quickly because otherwise we're really gonna stay here for too long. So this is a dupe. This is Lucy Cavendish's Sisters of the Sea by Blue Angel. I have recently got a few decks in by Blue Angels, and this is a dupe, so it's a really beautiful deck. It pairs up really well with all of your, both the marine, let's say, theme deck, but also the dragon theme deck, because it does have a bit of a energy which is in between mermaid and dragon, and also fae or fairy, if you know what I mean. It really is a very versatile deck. It's got a fantastic cardstock, one of the new ones from Blue Angel. It does have a really beautiful color palette that I really like. It reads really well, although you kind of do need the guidebook, which is, you know, it's a beautiful guidebook, so I'm actually quite happy. You know, when I'm sending a deck to someone, I'm quite happy because I like other people to be able to enjoy these decks that I myself enjoy so much. So this is the Sisters of the Sea Oracle deck by Lucy Cavendish, printed by Blue Angel. Then we move on to, and it's really random, you will notice, because now we're talking about an indie deck. So this is the Wandering Soul Oracle. This is by well, an Australian author. Let's see if I can find any information. I think she's called Jane. She's from Melbourne, and I have to say, this is an indie deck, as I explained. I think Rachel Jean, sorry Rachel. So I think, I could be wrong, I think that this deck is still in print. However, because this is the Oracle deck, however, the Tarot deck that pairs with this Oracle deck is not in print anymore. I don't know how many copies, if any, there are still in stock. In any case, this is a deck that I've used a lot, and it's a deck that originally I actually got it because I wanted to pair it up with a couple of tarot decks, like the Edgar Allan Poe deck by Schiffer, not the one by Llewellyn, the black and white one, just to, you know, be clear. That was one of them, and the other black and white decks, and I think that it paired up really well. The keywords are really good. It's just, I asked myself, okay, have I used this deck? No, not really. And I really wanted to go to someone who will appreciate it. So this one being an indie deck, I can ship it overseas, obviously depending on the shipping cost and everything. So the Wandering Soul Oracle. The next one is also a dupe. And you probably ask me, how do you end up with so many duplicates, Sylvia? Don't you keep a spreadsheet of the decks you've got? The answer is yes and no. I used to, because being into numbers like I am, of course, I used to keep a spreadsheet. And it turns out that it's not that easy, because I do have a high turnover of decks. And you know, when you have a job and you have to clean the house and you have to support your partner, and there's two really constantly hungry cats that always want food, and you have to plan for the YouTube videos, and you have the membership program as well. It turns out that also keeping a spreadsheet is not that easy. So I fell behind, and when you fall behind, it's a mess. It really is a mess, and so I just gave up, and no, I don't have a spreadsheet anymore. And yes, when you have 500 decks, it's not that easy to keep track of them. This one, however, I was quite happy to purchase it, even though I kind of knew that I had it, because I went to the cabinet, no, what's it called? The Oracle, no, sorry. The Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Sydney, where Mira Nordianti, so Mira is the illustrator, fantastic artist. She was there, and she was selling heaps of stuff that I bought, stickers and things like that. And I also bought this one. I kind of I didn't know for sure, but I thought I may have had it. In any case, when I got home, I saw that I did have it. So this is the deck. It's really beautiful, black and white, absolutely fantastic. It's a very witchy deck. I love this contrast of colors, you know, the red in the background and the black and the white of the drawings, and the drawings themselves are really, really beautiful, very evocative, in a few cases a bit dark, but as you can see, but it was actually the intention, you know. And I love this card, Elemental Magic. So as you can see, it's got not just the title but also the keywords, so it's a very good deck. Rock pool deck, you know, this kind of red gilding. So this is the Oracle of the Witch, and published by Rockpool, as I said. Then another Botanical Oracle deck that I'm rehoming, and this is because, so this deck is fantastic. The art style is magnificent. It looks like a work of art. Every single one of these cards is called the Magical Botanical Oracle. This is actually published by Lo Scarabeo, and it's got so the book, the guidebook, is by Christopher Penchak. Let me assure, if you don't know his work, let me assure you, it is a joy to read it. I'm really doing my best not to break the spine. It is unbroken as of now. Each and every one of these cards have so much information. You can really, really learn a lot. So the Latin name, the English name, the Latin name, the planets associated with the symbols, the element, chemical element with the symbol. And then we go into the magical meaning, the plant, spirit, medicine, divination meaning, and reversed divination meaning. And you also get an affirmation: I am blessed and protected from all harm. Why, you will probably ask, why on earth are you rehoming this deck? Because look at the artwork. Let me show you the deck, sorry. It is rather it's not your usual, let's say, Hay House or Blue Angel format. It's smaller. It is a fantastic deck. I mean, look how beautiful this deck is. The reason why I'm rehoming it is because it does not have keywords. So what I've done is I've actually studied the book, and for each and every one of the cards I've come out with a keyword. You can see it here: protection, purification, regeneration, flexibility, courage, impermanence, magic, resilience, grounding, calmness, defense, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to read all of them. And I did it with guides, so they look sort of like they actually blend in. I don't know why I can't stand it. I don't like it. I mean, I know that some of you will not mind, obviously, but it has been modified. That's the only modification that I've done to this deck, but it has been modified. It does have the keyword, and the keyword reflects the guidebook. So, you know, this is the deck. Modified, it sells as is. So the Magical Botanical Oracle, Christopher Penchak, and published by Lo Scarabeo. Let's move on. We've got Divine Deco Tarot by Gerta Oparaku Egi. I most likely mispronounced that, so my apologies. What editor is this? What publisher? Microcosm publisher. I actually found this deck in a bookstore in Kinokuniya. It's probably available on Amazon, but in any case, I really liked it for a period of time. I was using it quite often for readings. So readings for myself and readings for clients. It tends to have a, so it is the Divine Deco. It tends to have some kind of a Art Deco kind of feel to it, even though not 100%. But the colors remind me a lot of the Art Deco, you know, that kind of motif that you could find in all of the prints, but also the wallpapers, if you're familiar with that. all of the protagonists in the cards are dancers, and you can actually, they are, you know, dancing, so they are almost frozen in a dance move. And it's a beautiful concept, it's a beautiful deck. As I said, it's an RWS clone. It's kind of pippish, but I have to say it's one of those pips that is actually really beautiful to look at. It's not a lazy pip, as you can see, the Six of Pentacles. The reason why I'm rehoming it is, okay, I don't dislike it at all. It's a beautiful deck, as I said, but even though it is meant to be an RWS clone, only very few cards, and you know, I was about to say they don't look like RWS clone, and then I find one of the 3 cards in total in the deck that actually is, you know, showing the RWS meaning of the competition, etc. All of the other ones, or most of the other ones, actually don't. So obviously now, because I've said that, all of the cards that actually do have some resemblance to the RWS, they will show up. So scratch that. But okay, so what I mean with that is, it is the fact that the protagonists in the cards are dancing that makes it okay. Let's pick the Five of Swords, because that is a perfect example. I understand that you need to see the card as a whole, and obviously you do see that sense of defeat brought about by treason, by gaslighting in the card when you look at this character here, and perhaps also this character here, even though not so much. But I have the feeling that for cards like the Five of Swords, which is not the easiest card to read in a reading, having a protagonist in the card, and it's in, you know, really a close-up, that is dancing, even though I do believe that ballet is can be extremely expressive, but because of the movement, if you take a snapshot of a ballet, of a pose, of a dancing pose, that to me is not enough to convey the sense of the card. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to. I mean, that's the reason why I'm rehoming this, even though I really like it. It's a beautiful deck. Look at the World card, it's absolutely fantastic. So, Divine Deco Tarot. Not a very known or well-known publisher, I have to say. To be honest with you, I don't know this publisher, but it was selling in a bookstore which normally sells just mass market decks, so perhaps it is mass market, we just don't know the publisher. Next one, Ravine Phelan Messenger Oracle. This is by Blue Angel. It is one of the most recent publication of this deck, because you're probably familiar with the one with the owl. So it's not the one with the owl, it's the other one, the more recent one. This one has fantastic keywords, and it pairs up really, really well with the James O'Gea tarot deck. The thing is that once I rehomed James O'Gea, which was a few months ago, probably over a year ago, I stopped using this deck. And I found myself realizing that I had purchased it exclusively because it paired up so well with the James O'Gea. This was the on the cover of the older edition of this deck. It is, however, a beautiful deck. I do find the keywords, or rather the messages at the bottom, very, very enlightening. I actually like it, and but it is what it is. I don't use it. I don't have the James O'Gea anymore. I don't use it. I don't pair it up. I don't have the deck that I used to use it together, and I just find myself not reaching for it, which is a pity. And since it is a beautiful deck, I want someone else to use it. So this is the Messenger Oracle, a Blue Angel publication, as I said, not the older one, the newest sort of one. Then one deck I've been meaning to rehome for a long time. I haven't, and but now the time has come. Laura Tempest, Zakroff, Llewellyn, Liminal, Spirit Oracle. So this is a, as always, Llewellyn, you know the product value with Llewellyn, I don't have to tell you. Fantastic product value, really excellent book, guidebook. Glorious colors in the cards, I have to say. I love the fact it has not been written on. I know that here it shows the notes where you can write anything if you want. I don't do that, not even when I use a deck like crazy. I never write on a book unless I do. There are exceptions, but not guidebooks, not tarot guidebooks or oracle guidebooks. Very large format, these cards. The usual, not even the usual Llewellyn stock, it feels like it's slightly different. It does the same tactile feel, but because the cards are bigger, I believe that it's a thicker kind of grammage. So as I said, really gorgeous colors. The only problem is that it doesn't have keywords. And I have so many decks without keywords that I want to keep because they fill a space or another that is very essential to me, but I have to learn by heart the keywords by going to the guidebook, and I just don't have time for this one. And I kept it for so long because I thought, oh no, I'm gonna find the time, I'm gonna study the guidebook, I'm gonna memorize the keywords, it's gonna work on an intuitive level, come on. Guess what? Nope. So at least it doesn't for me. I mean, and of course some of the cards, I mean, clay, of course, clay is creation. Crystal is probably protection. But then again, when I start saying probably, metal is also probably creation, fiber. See, when I start doubting, fox, of course, I think of kitsune, so obviously the fox it talks to me, or honeybee talks to me, cat always talks to me, but not all of these cards. Wisdom with the owl, salamander, fire element, of course, fish. Is it referring to the alchemical element of water? Is it referring to travel? Is it referring to the depth of intuition? I don't know. Toad, belladonna is a poison. It's beautiful, it's well done. The guidebook is really good, but if I start having doubts about it, it means that I need to rehome it because, and these are all mass market decks, so I am not scared that should I need them one day, I won't be able to find them. Now this one, the Healing Spirits Oracle, has been, it's a dupe. It's been recently re-gifted to me by someone who didn't know that I had it. And when you find yourself that, first of all, I wasn't sure 1000% because there's a very similar one that I also have. At the time when I received it, I wasn't sure 100% because I was overseas. I didn't have access to my collection and I didn't want to say, oh, I've got it already. And so I'm keeping the one that I was gifted and I'm rehoming the one that I had prior to that. I have to say though, this one I bought it in combination with the Devils of Creation by Cilla Conway and the Book of the Dead by Cilla Conway also. This oracle makes those two decks, let's put it this way, easier to use, easier to understand. It makes you willing to use them as well because sometimes those two decks are very powerful, you don't always reach for them. When you have this deck, you actually feel like you want to use them together. It is a really beautiful deck. It's the Healing Spirits, so it goes really, really well with the Book of the Dead. But it also, it pairs up really well with the Cosmo Visions by James R. Eads, which has a similar, if not, the same concept as the as Cilla Conway's The Book of the Dead. So basically, it does have that kind of healing properties, healing coming from the beyond, let's put it this way. So it is a really beautiful deck. The messages at the bottom are really beautiful. I will not rehome, so I have a copy that I'm going to keep, and I'm rehoming the duplicate of this deck. I think it's a Hay House. Yes, it is. It's a Hay House publication, so it's, you know, the product value, you know, the cardstock. I don't need to tell you. What else? And this one is a bit painful. Okay, this one is a bit painful, but I have to abide to my rules, at least for now. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it pans out. This one. You probably know this deck. It was booming, all right? The Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle by Terry Foss. This is the mass market edition by US Games, and it has been published in 2022, and it was based with slight differences on Terry Foss's original indie deck, Earthly Souls and Spirits. It's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. I even love the backs with the phases of the moon. I love the tones. I love what they've done with the guidebook. So again, I don't want to ruin the spine. So you got a full page of the card, but it's in black and white, which is absolutely fine because we got the cards to see the colors. You got the, again, the, so in this case, gratitude, so the keyword, another couple of keywords, appreciation, love, and contentment. You do have a quote, which is very interesting. Enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize the big things, Robert Brault. And then you got a little bit of an explanation of the card and the intention. Now, when it comes to the guidebook, I'm absolutely okay with it. It's beautiful, it's fine, I like it. It's, you know, it's a US game deck. They don't make bad decks. Obviously, it's always, you know, a matter of taste if you don't like them. The problem with this deck is that I don't find myself reaching for it. I do believe that it's because I haven't to this day, found a tarot deck that will pair up well with this one, because it's a very unique kind of art style. It's a very unique kind of color palette. And by unique, what I mean is that it is very comprehensive and it stands alone. So when a deck stands alone, it needs to fill in a very specific and unique, I must say, space in my collection. Otherwise, I tend to like an oracle when I can pair it up with a tarot deck or with another oracle or with another deck of any kind of system and divination. When it's an oracle deck that is mass market, still in print, with the 90% of the keywords that I can find in any other oracle decks, and I don't use it and I don't pair it up with anything because I don't know what to pair it with, I am not reaching for it, and I want to rehome it because it is incredibly beautiful and it needs to go to someone who will honor it by using it and not leaving it on a shelf to gather dust. The same goes for this deck, the Beloved Dead. I do have a couple of decks that I use for this kind of specific work, so identifying what the messages from the beyond are. One that I find myself using more and more than this deck, and that made me think perhaps is because it gives me everything I need, is the Wisdom of the Elders Oracle, which I know that is not exactly the same concept as the Beloved Dead, but I that's the one I use. And this one is really beautiful, and by Carrie Paris. You will know Carrie from the Relative Tarot, for example, Tina Hart. Beautiful deck, beautiful concept. You also have, the deck is divided in two parts, I'd say, but let me show you the book. So you've got a thumbnail, full color. If you know the Relative Tarot, you will recognize the style. So it's an antiquing kind of vintage kind of collage. Really, really beautiful. The deck, as I said, is divided in two, in the sense that we've got By the way, did I say who's publishing it? Is it Schiffer? No, it's oh no, it's Wiser Books. Sorry, it's Wiser Books. Okay. It came warped slightly. You can't really tell, but it is slightly warped, as you can see. It's warped this way. It came like that. Really beautiful gold gilding. And you do have archetypes, and you also have, I love this witch card. So you do have archetypes, as I said, and then you've got, if I can find it, love card, actor love cards. Forgiveness and faith, objectivity, here and now, because you need to get into the book. I have to say, you need to get into the book. There's a very specific practice that you can opt to do or not. If you got this deck, it is mass market, it's readily available, but I use a different one for the type of work I purchased this deck for, and I don't have the relative tarot, which would have been really cool to pair this with. So this one is going to someone who will love it and honor it. The next one, to be honest with you, I'm rehoming it because it drives me insane. It's a fantastic deck. It's let's say it's a deck of cards as in reflection, so affirmation. Okay, so a collection of simple reminders and gentle disruptor, mindful ritual cards. It drives me insane because even though it's really beautiful, very nice cardstock, I have to say as well. One of those that makes a really beautiful ASMR sound when you do like that. Most of the cards I can't read them. It's either, so the fonts are either too small or they're printed in white against a really light background. Or, you know, I understand that it's the same sentence repeated, but you probably can't even say, I can't even see it. Let me resume. Can you see it on camera? You cannot. And had it been 1-2 cards, but it's 80%. I mean, this one is fantastic. See things as they are, not as you are. My goodness, of course. Of course. But what about this one? So it's either the font that is printed in a very light way, a light color, or it's an illegible font, or it's too small, or, you know, there's a number of things that it drives me insane. And honestly, looking through it right now, even looking through the camera to the deck, to the cards, I can't make them out. Can you make this out? I mean, I realize that I'm not selling it, am I? But I'm being honest, okay? I'm being honest 1000%. I think this is a mass market deck, although I did buy it in a metaphysical store, so I'm not entirely sure, because they did have indie decks as well. Another one has a very simple reason for me rehoming it, and it's a very beautiful reason. Sorry, it's taking me so long to grab it because it's heavy. So it's the Gaian Tarot. I was so lucky that I found, by Joanna Powell Corbett, I was so lucky that I found the original indie deck by Llewellyn. This is the Schiffer publication with the, originally had the horrible borders. I actually trimmed them, so the book is in excellent to near new conditions. I did read it. The deck has been heavily modified because, let me just grab it, sorry, because I really wanted the Llewellyn version. I do use a professional guillotine type trimmer, so it's, if I do say so myself, I think I've done a good job. It took me ages because, I don't know if you know this deck, but there's a lot of elements that belong to the image of the card that actually go out of the borders into the white borders. And if you remember the mass market edition, so this edition, it also comes with bigger, wider white borders and also blue borders, very wide, very big, outside of the white borders. So since I did not want to cut into the artwork because it's absolutely gorgeous, I had to do a lot of measurements, I had to do a lot of trials, and I am happy to say not one of these images has been cut across. So for example, the feathers of this crane, you'll see all of them. The moon, you can see it in its entirety. So I think I've done a decent job, at least I hope so. And that means that in some cases the title at the bottom really does not have that much room left underneath, but I never cut it across. So in many cases it was really borderline, but I managed to do so. It is exactly, were it not for the cardstock, which is gloss instead of matte, and for the titles, which have a different font and a different color, this would actually look like the Llewellyn version. So I have the Llewellyn version. It's a wonderful, wonderful deck, really beautiful, but also, you know, it reads like a charm. It's for any kind of practice, whether it's divination or meditation or introspective kind of work, you can really use it. And I love it. And I have the Llewellyn edition, and so I'm rehoming the mass market one. Again, this one is readily available, the mass market edition. And so I'm sorry, but I can only ship it to Australian addresses. Otherwise it will cost you way too much in shipping, trust me. Then there's another one that I'm rehoming because I don't use it, even though I have purchased it not 12 months ago, so it's impossible to abide by my rule in this case because, well, I mean, I obviously used it at least a couple of times, but this one is heavily modified, and it just so happens that I don't necessarily like the modification that I've done, and I just realized that every time I reach for this deck, and I do reach for this deck because I have the, what's it called, the Serpent Fire, for example, that I'm trying to get into, even though I really struggle. And so it's got that kind of desert, but at the same time cosmic kind of energy. And every time that I reach for this deck, in order to be able to get back into the Serpent Fire, I cringe. I cringe because of the modification. Let me try and show you as best as I can. So it's a convoluted kind of modification because I started from the corners with the dark blue, and then the green, and then the kind of a linen color, and then I used the gold from what's it called, the Dewdrop brand. So this took me a while, and I actually posted a video in which I was showing how I was doing it. It was good while it lasted. But now I don't know, I kind of cringe when I see it, and I want to rebuy this deck, but I'm not gonna modify it. You know, my second copy. So this is the Moonology Messages Oracle by Yasmin Bolan. Sorry, I don't think I actually remember to say which deck it was. It's readily available. It's a Hay House publication. We're almost through. Bear with me. I have one last deck that I'm rehoming simply because, again, it's part of the few Blue Angel decks that I got, and this is the very recent, I think from a couple of months ago, Earth Mother's Oracle, Guidance from the Guardians of the Animal Kingdom. It's a beautiful deck, very sweet, I have to say, very sweet deck. So the backs are reversible if you shuffle reversals and read reversals in an Oracle deck, which is not exactly the case. However, it doesn't give you the, let's say, a different kind of meaning when it comes to reversals, so I don't necessarily see how you would use this deck and read the reversals. As you can see, it's a very busy deck. The cards, I mean, are very, very busy, borderless, apart from the bottom. You do, however, have the name of the, let's say, Earth Mother, and the a keyword associated to the Earth Mother. And also where, for example, this one, Rebirth with Katya, you will see that the theme is cats, and it does have a meaning, let's say. It's a really beautiful deck. The artwork is fantastic. I still have to find a tarot deck that pairs up well with this one. And eventually, I don't know what to do, but I haven't used it enough to rehome the other copy as well. So for now, this is just the Duke that I'm going to rehome. So be it. It's just that it's such a very busy deck that at the end of the day, I think that it will stand alone. It will, you know, I feel like using it by itself. And as I was mentioning earlier, in that case, it needs to have a very specific duty as a very specific space in my collection in order for me to keep it when it's a mass market, readily available, very affordable, and I can't pair it up with any other deck. That was it. We made it. We made it through the video of the huge rehoming. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 decks. Yeah, so if you're a Sunlight or a Starlight members, you can, you know, you'll see it 1 week before everyone else. So you can reach out to me if you're in Australia for the mass market ones, if you're overseas, also for the only for the indie decks. But other than that, thanks so much for being with me till the end of this video. Have a great day.